Hi, this is Eric Sloef at the VMworld 2014 and I'm joined by two special guests. Luc Kanies, how are you, Luc?
I'm doing great, Eric. How are you?
And my old buddy, I'm doing fine, thanks. And my old buddy, Chad Sackett. Chad, how are you?
I'm fantastic, especially now that I'm seeing you, my friend.
Later today we are in a panel session together. That will be fun.
I'm very excited.
Okay, cool. So, you're from Puppet, you're from EMC. How do you work together? Is there lots of integration from Puppet within EMC?
There's so look, basically people use Puppet for all sorts of tasks they want to automate, make simpler. That touches the domain of storage for sure. There's a lot of Puppet work that was actually done by a few people in the early days of actually constructing vCloud Air, what's now vCloud Air, to automate the whole infrastructure stack that included lots of EMC components. So there's Puppet modules that can be used to automate EMC storage infrastructure, and there's a ton of integration with VMware and the whole VMware stack.
What I saw on the website was that there was a new offering, a rack with EMC and VMware solutions. Is Puppet the magic sauce? Is everything tied together with Puppet?
So really where we are using Puppet is more down the path of Evo Rack, right? So there's always opportunities to automate and make things simpler, but where I think Puppet's superpower is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but literally it's possible to automate all sorts of infrastructure, OS, application templates where there's a large degree of variation. Evo Rail is so hyper standardized that less automation is actually kind of needed. But frankly, that's a certain portion of the hyper-converged market, Eric. There's a lot of customers that actually want to have more infrastructure variation, right? And in those cases, I think Puppet, Razor, all sorts of pieces of what these guys have got to do is insanely valuable. And in fact, we actually do use portions of Puppet, portions of other automation tools inside some of our other hyper-converged offerings like Elastic Cloud Storage and other things along those lines.
Okay, great. So look, Puppet, you invented Puppet, so you're responsible for it. How does it integrate with the EMC? Is there already a lot of support for the hardware? Is there a definition file for most of the components?
So Puppet was really built in the beginning to work primarily on compute, and as we've gotten more widely used and as people have realized how much faster they can move when they've got things automated and they've got a single consistent tool, they're really pushing to manage not just compute but also storage, network, the load balancers and all those pieces. So we've seen a lot of success so far in network. We have begun to see people managing the storage devices, so working with EMC to be able to manage their storage arrays. We're kind of the technology works, but it's not quite all the way to commercially supported, and you can't quite call Economist to get support there. So there's a lot of customer interest, a lot more than I thought it was going to take longer for people to start pulling on that. So you can use it today, but it takes a little more elbow grease than normal. When you're looking at the converged infrastructure, when you're looking at managing your compute nodes, it's the fastest way to get your silicon up running your systems, and then once you've got your VMs in place, it's the fastest way to take those VMs and make them do something useful.
Right. So how is EMC supporting Puppet? Do you have engineers working on extensions?
Good partnership, and frankly, the larger federation is an early investor in Puppet. We saw it and liked it so much. It's a partnership that is not only at the technical level and engineering level, but also at the business level. And frankly, for what it's worth, there's a lot of stuff out there that's really cool, that's hard to get your hands on, to learn and to play with. This is not one of them. So if you're watching, go to Puppet, download, learn, play, use. And since it's an open project, a lot of people are contributing and adding things to it. It's really, really cool.
So if people want to get their hands on, what can they do? Can they download a ready-to-run virtual machine? Is there an offering on your website?
There's so many ways. Yes, there's a VM, and we've got a learning VM where you can download that. It's got Puppet already up running, and it's got a series of exercises you can do that'll go from what is this Puppet thing to actually doing something useful in that VM. We've got short online training classes. We've got an ungodly amount of documentation, and then we also got multi-day training classes both at our own conferences like Puppet Camp tomorrow in Dusseldorf, but also PuppetConf, or we hold local trainings in all over the world really.
Well, there was a PuppetConf. There was a PuppetConf not a long time ago, right? Like there was one.
Yep.
I saw lots of tweets.
Yeah, we had PuppetConf was almost 2,000 people in San Francisco towards the end of September.
So it was a special event, a community event, specially targeted at Puppet.
Yeah, it was an event that we at Puppet Labs run. We have puppet camps around the world that go between about 150 to 350 people. We have a ton of those, but the PuppetConf is just once a year. Last year was in San Francisco. Next year will be in Portland, Oregon, where we're based.
Great. Guys, many thanks for the interview. If you want to get your hands on, go to the Puppet website and download the VM.
Cool.